Saturday Night, featuring the front page roving reporters. Bert Lewis and his entertainment hotline. Jack and Kathy Hanna and their incredible Ark of Animals. Dick Ziff's wild and wacky world of super games. Bob Grossi and Chris Foley with the amazing universe of people. Psychic Kay Frayne exploring the bizarre and the unknown. And exclusive features by the front page columnists. Spanning the globe, tracking down all the hot stories of our time, the front page team of reporters is on the move, bringing you a constant variety of front page news, from shocking, death-defying feats to the amazing tales of the bizarre and unknown. Each and every story a testimonial of life and the resiliency of the human spirit, going where no man has ever gone before to bring you the truth behind the headlines. These are the people of Front Page Saturday Night. And now, the woman with 1,000 stories to tell, the on-air editor of Front Page Saturday Night, Janet Davies.
And welcome to the very first edition of Ohio's TV tabloid of the air. Each week we will bring you several glossy electronic pages full of hot feature stories shot on location in and around Ohio. Some will be funny and some sad, but all will be as full of life as life itself. For instance, this is Jim Lewis. And this is Jim Springer. And these are photographs that were taken shortly after the Dayton, Ohio twins were separated by adoption nearly 40 years ago. Today, the twins have joyfully reunited with anticipation of celebrating a Christmas together. But there is more to this amazing story. Tonight, witness the mirror image lives that these identical twins have led, even though they have been separated for nearly 4 decades. Then, it's off to the races. Pig races with Dick Ziff and special guest Jimmy Dean as Front Page Super Games presents the first annual battle of the Super Swine, followed by short butch haircuts and wild makeup. Well, they're sweeping the country and making the establishment take notice. Entertainment reporter Bert Lewis takes a backstage look at a craze that calls itself New Wave.
Cause they fit the law. I can lock all my doors, and it's the only way to live in cars.
So don't go away. We'll have these stories and more when Front Page Saturday Night continues.
Lots of luck.
You couldn't show it on TV.
Balanced budget.
A prayer.
Some wrinkle remover.
I will get him a horse.
A pair of cowboy boots.
A new suit.
I'd like to give him hope in America, hope for the future, and hope in the youth of America. I'd love that.
Well, maybe I'll get him some stock in a Georgia peanut farm. Speaking of farms, we have a story that's really down on the farm. For more, we're going to take you to our Front Page Super Games, where our own Dick Ziff is standing by with special guest Jimmy Dean.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Front Page Super Games. Front Page Saturday Night presents the first annual battle of the Super Swine. Brought to you by Guido's, the breakfast of challengers. By all new Hogwash with the tiny blue crystals to keep your hog squeaky clean. By Pig Sprint snack crackers, the crunch of corn and the great taste of pig. And by new Pudge, the diet fudge that lets you make a pig out of yourself.
And what a beautiful evening fans for racing here in Columbus. Front Page Saturday Night presents the first annual Battle of the Super Swine. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dick Zipp, along with our expert color commentator for this evening of color and excitement, Mr. Jimmy Dean of the new Jimmy Dean Restaurants.
Dick, I thank you very much. A record-breaking crowd gathered at this huge arena for the #1 swine race on the swine circuit, and that's coming up in just a few minutes. But let's look at this photo finish of the preliminary heat. As you can tell, they break from the gate even, and they're even all the way.
That's
and
right.
then Mud Maniac breaks out, shows them what he's made of, and breaks the ribbon in a record time, Dick.
What a heat, Jimmy. Now here's a shot of Boss Hogg in the few moments before the finals. He's over in the bench area catching his breath.
Cute little devil, isn't he?
I'm glad he's catching it.
Friends, we hope you'll stay right here for a marvelous lineup of entertainment this evening. Started off, of course, is Pork and Mindy, when Pork tries to go steady with a cow. And then, of course, the Bad News Pigs, the whole gang, forms a pee-wee football team until they find out what footballs are made out of. And, of course, you won't want to miss the Pig event, tonight featuring that Oscar-winning classic motion picture, Days of Swine and Roses. So you have your dial at the right place. Stay tuned for our wonderful evenings of family entertainment.
Of course, fans, Jimmy Dean and I will be here throughout the evening to bring you all the electricity of that supercharged final race. Meantime, let's throw it back to Janet Davies in our front page studios.
We'll be checking back with Dick and Jimmy throughout the evening for more special coverage of the Battle of the Super Swine. Yeah, boy. And now we have a story for you won't soon forget. Watch.
I grew up knowing that Jim would die of birth, but yet there was something missing in my life. It's unexplainable, I think. But yet I still drove the streets of Bradford looking for Jim. Just looking for someone that would look like Jim. And I spent many, many hours doing this.
You would think that the birth of twins in the tiny town of Bradford, Ohio would be a happy event everyone would know about. But in 1939, twin boys were born to one of the residents, and no one knew about it. You see, the twins were born prematurely and sickly and illegitimately. And in the 1930s, society dictated that a woman should not keep her children if she didn't have a husband. So the twins were put in a foundling home and 4 weeks later adopted by separate families. The boy on the right was adopted by people named Springer. A family named Lewis took the one on the left. The families didn't know each other. In fact, the Springers were told that the other twin had died. So now the first amazing coincidence occurs. Both were named Jim. Jim Lewis knew he had a twin somewhere, and after 39 years decided to find him. Really, that was the easy part. Through an adoption agency, he found his twin in Dayton, Ohio. The hard part was yet to come. He had to meet his twin, face to face.
He was really nervous, really nervous. When we went down there, of course, he stopped at this pizza place, and they had something to drink before we went into Jim's.
Well, we got there early.
Got there early, and he was kind of prolonging the agony, I guess you would say, before he went there, weren't you?
See, they only grew up 45 miles apart. Grew up. We're further apart now because Jim came down here to Dayton, but, just being that close and yet so far away.
Finally, they did meet at the Springer home in Dayton, Ohio. And there they discovered incredible similarities after never having known one another. Their amazing story came to the attention of a University of Minnesota professor, Thomas Bouchard, who felt this was a great opportunity to discover if identical twins reared apart are uncannily alike because of heredity instead of the environment in which they grew up.
I told my wife the next time.
Well, of course, the Jim twins are still, so to speak, our premier set of twins. They were the first set of twins we found, but they're also still the pair of twins who have been apart the longest. And they're one of the most similar pairs we found. We were lucky, in a sense, because their dramatic similarities signaled to us that this was a very, very important kind of study, that if we could find additional twins, we would really be making some discoveries.
Professor Bouchard has studied many sets of twins who have been reunited after years of separation, but none have shown the dramatic similarities of the Jim twins.
I've told a number of people, another psychologist come to me before I started this study and gave me a picture of the results that we have, I'd have said, gee, I don't believe it.
Now, you're probably wondering, what are these amazing similarities? Well, both men had a first wife named Linda and a second one named Betty. Both prefer Chevrolets and drove them to the same stretch of Florida beach for vacations. Both are affectionate family men and have a son by the name of James Allen. Both like the same brand of cigarettes, pop, and beer, and have the same eye problem. Also, the same handwriting, and they bite their nails to the quick. Both have had a dog named Toy. Both enjoy woodworking as a hobby and made each other these Christmas presents. Both were employed in police and security work. And both are 6 feet tall, 180 pounds, and wear the same size clothes. They both at the same time in their lives mysteriously put on 10 pounds. They both have high blood pressure and a form of migraine headaches. And as you will see, both have the same kind of humor.
Why in the hell is he looking me up after all these years, you know? You know, with my luck, he probably wanted a kidney transplant or something, you know?
I can't tell you why I waited for 39 years. I guess it was just God's will that it was that long. And when it happened, it was beautiful, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Front Page studio, the Jim Twins. There is another paragraph to this Front Page story. As we were shooting this segment, we discovered the existence of one more long-lost family member. And tonight, for the first time on television, we add another picture to the Jim Twins family album as these two brothers become three. And here he is, the older brother who watched the twins being born, Harold Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bert Lewis. Oh, Bert, you spilled dinner on your tie, Bert. What is this crazy outfit?
Janet, this is my new wave clothes.
Your new wave? What is new wave?
Well, new wave is supposed to be a combination of England's punk rock and America's rock and roll of the 60s, and the people that are into it are really into it.
Yes, but do we know what it's all about?
Well, let's find out.
Okay.
New wave is the 80s. It is the music that is now.
Well, there is nothing that's new. It's just all reborn in another form.
I think the new wave is, sure, going back to the past, but then everything repeats itself.
I wish I was new wave. I'm not sure if I am, but I like to think of myself that way.
Spawned from England's punk rock and America's rock and roll of the 60s, new wave has created a cult following who truly believe it's the music of the future. And straddling the fence, 1 foot in and 1 out, is 22-year-old British star of the solid gold hit Cars, Gary Newman. Gary Newman, a superstar in his native England, the land where punk rock was born. But Newman claims he's no punk rocker. Newman is new wave, a description he doesn't always agree with. But his music and stage shows are described that way. At this concert at Akron, Ohio, you can see that Newman is doing something different, something that young people from 18 to 30 are paying money to see and hear. The music is simple, but the presentation is like a wild nightmare. It's cold, uncomfortable, electric, and electronic. But is it new wave to Newman?
To me, it means very little, actually. It's normally associated with people that have come up in the last 3 or 4 years, and they're relatively young, like early 20s. But the police were called New Wave, and they're something like 30. So it's far too wide to be accurate. It's one of the silliest terms that's come up, I think.
What's the difference between Gary Newman on stage and Gary Newman off stage?
When you're on stage, you get a chance to live out things that you always wanted to be. And off stage, you can't do that. Being famous enables you to get away with a certain amount more, but nothing like you can do on stage. You can act out dreams, you can act out fantasies.
I need you. Gary Newman certainly lays out his fantasies for all to see. Perhaps that really is the essence of new wave. But it appears that no one is able to agree on a concrete musical definition. Not even disc jockeys who sell the sound. Take, for instance, Steve Runner of Columbus's QFM 96.
There's no real honest-to-goodness definition. You talk to record people now, and they will bring a new album into me, for instance, and I'll say, what, is this more new wave? And they say, well, I don't know exactly how to classify it. Several months ago, we wouldn't be playing nearly as much new wave as we do now. There are groups like the B-52s and Talking Heads and the Pretenders, groups that really started out as definite new wave and now have progressed to mass appeal. They are becoming much more commercial.
Ah, so commercial new wave means a group like the Pretenders. Now, other general characteristics of new wave do not involve an assault on your eyes and ears, but a direct attack on your body. To be considered a new wave person by other new wavers, you must have a look which combines American graffiti and Star Wars. So nowadays, when you visit your local beauty salon in need of a wave, you better specify permanent or new.
Does she always wear makeup like this?
Usually, yes. This is the real Michelle. It's not a temporary fad for Michelle. It's something that she lives every day. People who come to us are not looking for the ordinary hairstyle.
So what is new wave? At Crazy Mama's New Wave Club here in Columbus, new wave looks like an excuse to play bad music and deck out in Halloween duds. But is it a serious, complex musical art form? Who knows? Maybe we're all new wave and just don't know it.
Come up with next. I just don't know, but I do know that we have to check in with Jimmy Dean and Dick Ziff down at the Ohio State Fairgrounds. Oh, look at that crowd out there. It's quite a one, isn't it, Dick?
It's packed to the rafters here, Janet, with more folks still arriving.
Jimmy, have you ever seen anything as outrageous as this?
Janet, it's amazing, and I say that this is going to be one of the great nights in pig racing. And the racers are moving to the starting gate. So, Dick, why don't you set the lineup for us?
Jimmy, it'll be my pleasure. First in line for tonight is going to be the Bakos Kid, longtime favorite. Here's Boss Hogg again in lane 3. Alongside him, Jimmy will be in lane 2. You'll all recognize him as a Bud Maniac.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, in lane 1, wearing the number 1, the odds-on favorite here tonight, Jimmy, it's Barney Boy.
Indeed.
Now let's meet him up close, real close. It all began on a sleepy little farm in rural Ohio. Who could have known what life would hold for this littlest hog hero? But his training began early. And in the greening fields on crisp, chill mornings, it became clear that racing was in his blood. And all of that, race fans, has led up today to this moment. Here come the racers to the gate, and listen to that crowd.
This is it. The racers are ready. They're coming to the gate. Everything is readiness. Here is the bell, and here is Dick.
Jimmy, thank you. The hogs are in the gate as you indicated, waiting for the starting bell. Look for the drop, and they're off. The Bay Coast Kid takes a quick lead now. Barney Boy closes the gap. Here they come down the stretch. It's Bud Maniac by a snout. Here comes the finish. It's Barney Boy, the winner.
All right, we're going to have a quick replay of that finish. As you can tell, here the champ just manages to pull off the victory, and it should be in a record time. Here's the time. It is another world's record.
Jimmy, what a great job there, my friend. Barney Boy doing an outstanding job. We have Barney Boy with us down in the winner's circle. Oh, well, champ, what an impressive victory. This must be quite a moment for you.
Let's take another look at that finish from another angle, and why don't you tell us, champ, what's going through your mind here?
Okay, champ, congratulations on a great victory here today. Jimmy, what a race. I want to thank our special guest commentator, Jimmy Dean.
It was my pleasure. It's marvelous to be here at this tremendously exciting event.
Jimmy, it's been a mighty good one, my friend. Watch yourself. I'll guarantee you, the boys are going to have a mighty good time as we break away. I'll see you over at the restaurant, Jimmy. Take good care. What a night it's been with a record crowd on hand for a super exciting world record finish. A great victory for Barney Boy. Thanks to all of you for joining us. For Jimmy Dean and the entire Front Page crew, this is Victor. Now back to Janet.
Thank you, Dick. We'll be back with more Front Page Saturday night right after this.
Be our guest at a taping of Front Page Saturday night. Just give us a call at 460-3726 or write tickets WBNS TV Columbus 43215. And now, here's Janet.
Well, that's it for tonight's edition of Front Page Saturday Night. You've really been a great audience, and I sincerely want to thank you for inviting us into your home. Also, a special thanks to our guests, Mr. Jimmy Dean, Gary Newman, the Jim twins, and their newfound brother, Harold. And, of course, our roving reporters, Bert Lewis and Dick Ziff. Well, we have a lot of exciting front page stories in the works for you, stories that you won't want to miss. Our roving reporters travel all over Ohio looking for extraordinary people doing ordinary things, or ordinary people doing extraordinary things, like Janet Davies risking her life in a demolition derby. Ouch! Anyway, if you have a hot story to tell, let us know about it. Our address is Front Page, care of WBNS TV, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. Again, thank you for joining us, and join us next week for another edition of Front Page Saturday Night. Good night.
This program was pre-recorded before a live studio audience for presentation at this time. This is Bob O'Brien speaking.